Remember that time when you told that hilarious story to your friends, only with someone coming up to you and say, "Hey, I told you that story last week." Nothing worse than accidentally taking credit for someone else's work, right? Well, that's essentially what happens in academia when you forget to reference your sources, except the consequences are a tad more serious than a miffed friend. I can still clearly recall the uncertainty I felt when I did my very first research project, how I struggled to get my head around the principles of referencing, maybe because each source has a different rule and some sources break the rules. I was struggling with what it is and what it should be and how to tackle the beast. Well, you now have it all together in this 3-part series. I've also created a checklist which you can download. You'll find the link in the description box below this video. Use the checklist before you submit to your supervisor for examination, for publication, to just check your references. Double check that each thing is in its place. In this 3-part series on academic referencing, we are going to dive into what referencing is. We'll look at a few examples of academic referencing styles, specifically using the Harvard referencing style, and we look at some important principles that you need to know when you're making your citation decisions. So let's start with, what is referencing? Academic referencing is a systematic method of acknowledging the sources of information. In other words, the intellectual contributions of other researchers, such as ideas, quotes, data, and research findings, all of which are used in your academic writing. All referencing systems have two main components: in-text citations, where you indicate which sources support which statement, and a reference list at the end of the document. Why does referencing matter in academic writing? Academic referencing is like building a house of knowledge. You add your own bricks to the structure, but you build on the foundation others have built. Proper referencing serves several crucial purposes. First, it shows you've done your homework. It demonstrates that your research is built on solid academic ground and not just random thoughts that dropped into your head during your third cup of coffee. It's the difference between saying studies suggest and actually pointing to specific research that backs up your claims. In the process, you are acknowledging the intellectual contributions of others. Secondly, it creates an academic treasure map for researchers. Someone reading your work should be able to track down every source that you've used, whether to verify your claims or to dive deeper into topics that interest them. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, it protects you against the dreaded P word. Plagiarism is real, and in academia, the consequences of plagiarism is really serious and can damage your academic reputation and career. There's really a role for citations to play in building scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is like a massive collaborative project, with researchers worldwide contributing their pieces to this puzzle. Citations are the threads that weave all these contributions into a coherent picture. When you cite properly, you're participating in this global conversation around the research in your topic area. Each citation serves as a link in this chain of knowledge development. And today's groundbreaking research, in most cases, started with a question raised by someone many years ago. So by citing our sources, we are documenting this evolutionary process of scientific discovery, and you are becoming part of it. The consequences of poor referencing is not good. Let's be honest, nobody's perfect, and even experienced researchers sometimes make referencing mistakes. However, consistently poor referencing can have serious consequences. Your work might be returned for revision, and yes, it's not that much fun, but it's not the ideal. Your credibility as a researcher could be questioned. In severe cases, you might face accusations of plagiarism. You could mislead other researchers who rely on your citations. The good news? Mastering referencing isn't rocket science, unless you're actually writing about rocket science, and then referencing will be the least of your problems. You can become a referencing pro with attention to detail and the right tools in your academic toolkit. We are now ready to dive in a little bit deeper into this referencing system story. Understanding the different referencing systems will really help you just to see what it's all about. So picture yourself in an academic bookshop. Yes, those still exist. You've got APA lounging in one corner, Harvard making itself home in another, whilst Vancouver and Chicago are debating their merits over a cuppa. Each has its own personality and its preferred way of doing things. There are so many referencing styles out there. In fact, at the time of this recording, EndNote had something like 501 built-in referencing styles waiting to be used inside their software. So to keep things simple, we're going to focus on these 4 major academic celebrities. APA, the American Psychological Association's referencing style. This is what it will look like in the text and in the reference list. So despite its American roots, it's become a popular style in psychology, education, and social sciences worldwide. The APA style uses an author-date system where the author's surname and date appear in the in-text citation. And this style has an official APA website where the latest style can be found, and it's really well controlled by a governance body. And then there's the Harvard referencing style. The origin of the Harvard style for references is widely debated, seeing that Harvard University stated that it was not introduced by them, but it's become incredibly popular in UK universities. It's quite similar to APA and also uses an author-date system. While APA has strong governance, keeping control of its style, there are many different ways in which Harvard referencing style can play itself out in reality. And you'll find many Harvard referencing style guides out there. Finding your target journal and university style guide is therefore crucial when using this system. The Vancouver referencing style is the darling of medical and scientific publications. Vancouver keeps things wonderfully numerical, and in-text citations have a number in the text. It can either be a number in square brackets, round brackets, or superscript. There are many variations of this style, so again it's important to find your target journal or university style guide. It's like the mathematician of citation styles, everything reduced to numbers, making your reference list looks delightfully orderly. And then there's the Chicago referencing style. Chicago offers 2 systems, because why make things simple? There's the notes bibliography and the author-date systems. It's the choice of many humanities, social science, and natural science scholars, particularly those who love footnotes as much as they love their morning coffee. The Chicago Manual of Style contains all its ins and outs and in-betweens. Now that you know all about the different styles, you may wonder, but which style should I use when? Here's the golden rule. Check before you start. But seriously, that's really important. And the choice typically depends on your field of study. So each discipline has its favorites. The journal's requirements if you're going to publish. So check the journal's guide for authors. It's usually hiding in plain sight on the website. And look at recently published articles in your target journal. Have a look at your university guidelines if you're writing a thesis or dissertation. Or ask your supervisor or co-authors for their preference. You can usually get good advice from them as well. I'd say an author-date system like Harvard or APA really works well, especially if you are new to the research field. Because as you are citing the sources, you can see which source you are citing where, because you are using the surname and the date of the publication. In that way, you become familiar with the different authors and the different papers that you're working with, and that's related to your field. Then, if you need to convert to a number system, like just before you submit your publication or your manuscript for publication or your dissertation for examination, You can always convert to Vancouver, and when you're using a referencing manager, it will really be easy to convert to the Vancouver system. Whichever style you choose, the secret weapon is consistency. While using the wrong style might annoy your supervisor or the editor of the journal, being inconsistent with your chosen style is far worse. It's like wearing a tuxedo to a beach party. Technically, it might work, but something is not quite right. So whichever style you choose, or have been chosen for you, stick to it throughout the document. Let's talk about the real MVPs of the referencing world, reference management software. Think of them as your personal academic assistants, minus the coffee runs. If you are using a reference manager, you'll insert your references with its help into your document, and it then populates the reference list for you. This means that you don't have to manually add commas and italics in your in-text citations or the reference list. The software will neatly and consistently format your references for you. Mendeley, Zotero, and EndNote are the three most widely used reference managers, and all three work very well. And so does many of the other players in the field. There are so many reference managers these days out there. So whichever one you choose, it's not a life-changing decision, you know which one you choose. But the fact that you do use a reference manager is, and I would definitely recommend that. You can change referencing styles with one click and create automatic reference list updates and format the references of an entire document in seconds. When changing between Harvard, for example, and Vancouver, superscript specifically, you'll need to move the punctuation from after to before the in-text citations, and that you still need to do manually. But I'm sure the referencing software companies will soon find a solution to that as well. So it really has immense time-saving benefits. Many academic publishers provide style files that you can import into the major reference managers. That is, if your style is not already built into the reference management software. You can also create your own referencing style and adapt an existing style to ensure that you honor your target journal or your university's wishes. I'd suggest, if you're going to use a reference management software, spend an hour or two to watch a few tutorials. I know it sounds boring, but it's better than spending 5 hours trying to figure out why your references are formatting themselves in an interpretive dance style. Never ever trust your reference manager blindly though. Always do a final manual check, and this is where the checklist, which you can find the link to in the description box below this video, will really come in handy. It just shows you a few checklist items that you can go through before you submit your document for examination or for publication if it's a journal article. You've completed part 1 of this 3-part series. You know what academic referencing is. You know a little bit about each of the different styles and how the different components sits together. Go on to the next part where we'll dive into one of the referencing styles, Harvard, and then the last part, the 3rd part, where we'll look at very important principles of academic referencing. Keep going. You'll soon be a master referencer. If you found this video helpful, smash the like button. For more useful tips to boost your research experience, subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below this video. And while you're at it, hit the bell so that you get notified whenever I produce a new video. If you need a solution to a challenge not yet covered on my channel, leave a comment in the box below. See you in the next video.